This. Welcome to you. Welcome to our beautiful room, our Women's Coaching and Consulting Council interactive gathering and masterclass together. We've decided just to double our fun, right? Cathy Derksen, our speaker today. Right. Yes, yes. So we have Northern America covered. We've got Canadians in the house. We have Panamanians in the house. We have Southern Illinois women in the house, Midwesterners. And Andrea, you're covered as well because our Canadian East Coast and West Coast with you and Cathy Derksen. So happy that you're here. Thank you. And Cecilia, we're curious, put in the chat where you're from because we are truly a global group. We may in fact have some of our contingency from Brisbane, Australia joining us as well because they want to reignite their life, right? Thank you. Yes, exactly. So welcome to each of you. Thank you for taking the time today. It's an important topic and our speaker is perfect to be talking about this. So let me set things up for us very quickly and then I'm going to turn the podium over to Cathy Derksen. We're going to have some Q&A. It's going to be a lively program because it's all about 3 key steps to reignite your life. So very good. Okay, we're truly international here. This is so good. So here we go. Sisters, give me a little thumbs up if you can see my slide. Thank you. Love it. Need the feedback here. And, you know, this is such an important topic. And as I mentioned, I'm Kathleen Caldwell, founder of C-Suite Network's Women's Coaching and Consulting Council. And I, like all of you, you know, it's time to say next, isn't it? If you want to say next in your life, for your business, for your career, for everything, give me a little thumbs up here. What's next? Yeah. Have we had enough of the same? There's been so much sameness and I didn't say saneness, I said sameness. And at the same time, there's been such chaos and disruption. And the thing that we can count on though, is within our council, we continuously bring you great speakers, great thought leaders, great experts, great business sisters on topics that are timely, things that are important now, giving you a platform, and we are committed to promoting and showcasing and acknowledging you. So that's why we're so excited. And of course, big shout out, we had a program last week that was, whoa, powerful, talking about coach consultant confidence, how to be equipped in any kind of storm, to be able to deliver for yourself, for your community, for your clients. It was a powerful 3-day program, super good. The recordings are out on our YouTube channel. We also featured the marvelous Nancy Geary for Bundle Your Brilliance. Her program was just extraordinary. If you got some new ideas about how to package your brilliance into programs and service offerings for more consistent, diversified income, that was a tremendous program, really, really super. We had several gentlemen join us for that program too, it was great. And then our program before then, because we're doing programs at least 2 times a month, often 3, because we are in a very, very high scaling mode right now. And we want to invite all of you to participate and be part of our programs, give a program, deliver a program as well. We had Linda Conyard was our speaker talking about connecting to your power. That was powerful. It matches with the power, but it was really powerful. She was talking about intergenerational trauma and how we can let go of the trauma in our lives, in our workplaces, with our clients, with everything, and be able to live more fully. Awesome program on our YouTube channel. Okay, so as I prepare to turn the podium over to you, Cathy Derksen, you know, you can't open up a web browser, can't open a newspaper, can't turn on a TV and not hear a story about what's up in the world now. You know, the statistics that are amazing. The BBC did an extensive article about why women are more burned out than men. You know, this term about being burned out, and that it's causing a lot of challenges, not only for women, but also for our work that we do, for families, and also for men in communities. The Atlantic did an incredibly lengthy article talking about a new kind of rage. Okay, wow. So I think we'd all agree now more than ever, we need to reignite what's good, what's working, and reinvent our lives. We're really ready for it. And the C-Suite Network is supporting each of you in doing that as well. So I would like to introduce, and I'm going to turn my camera off sharing and just stop sharing here and let you know, turn the podium over to you, Cathy. And Cathy Derksen is a tremendous person. Let me just mention to you, she is credentialed like you will not believe. She's a certified coach. She's a CFP, certified financial planner. She has an accreditation of a BSc. This woman has more accreditations and more degrees than a thermometer, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching the broadcast here. She's a disruptor, a catalyst for change. She's a supporter of women and reigniting their passion, their purpose for their work and for their lives. She's been doing this for her entire life. What I love also about Cathy is she has a strong background in financials and numbers, and she's got that grounding in what we need to do, not only for ourselves emotionally and spiritually, but also for the financials and for the foundation. So with that, I'd like to turn the podium over to you, Cathy. We're so happy. Please join me. Take yourself off mute. Let's give Cathy a resounding welcome in the Women's Coaching and Consulting Council. Thank you.
Always wonderful to be here. But just before I jump in, though, Kathleen, can you tell us a little bit about that article you just mentioned from the Atlantic? So that the pandemic has given women a new kind of rage.
Exactly.
Just like a quick little snippet. What was? I assume you read it.
Yeah, exactly. And what I'll do is I'll put in the chat the links to all of these articles.
Yeah.
You know, before our session,
I think it sounds like it probably ties in very well to where I'm going.
Yes, so. No coincidence, right?
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. The theme of the article was really that women have not been able to express all of this bubbling stress that's happening. And so there's this emerging phenomenon that's happening with women being able to not only need to express, but be in the sisterhood of other women. And so there was a study that they did, kind of how are women responding to the pandemic, you know, with the shutdown, with managing so many things, pressures from their careers, pressure from their families, pressure. And this rage is what's bubbling up for many women. So in a nutshell, and I'll put the link to the article in our chat as well. Yep, super good. And I think we're not surprised. I mean, how many of you have been feeling frustrated and, you know, maybe frustrated is a nice way to put it, but
yes. No, I love that. And thank you. That is actually a perfect segue into where we're going. And as Kathleen so nicely described, so yes, my name is Cathy Derksen. I'm on the west coast of Canada in the Vancouver area. My company is called Inspired Tenacity. And today we're going to go through a few of those things of steps of reignite your life. And at the beginning, Kathleen asked, what does reignite mean? And to me, it means to bring back a spark that I like to think that we had before. I don't know about you, but there was times in my teens and 20s and 30s that I felt invigorated and inspired and energized. And somewhere along the way, we often lose it, even in normal life without the pandemic. And so that's why I use the word reignite. I've had a few women say to me, well, I've never felt that way. For to me, I need to ignite my life, and which I was surprised by, but either way, ignite or reignite, depending on where you've come from. So my mission in my company is to create a cycle of wealth and success among women around the world. And wealth doesn't just mean money. Success doesn't just mean money. And that's a big thing that I'm focusing on now, is that whole bigger picture of wealth and success. And what does that mean to you? So not just the standard rules and descriptions, but what does it mean to you? And I really see it on a global scale too, that And part of my vision is that as we each help somebody else to improve their life, most women tend to then reach out and help somebody else improve their own life. So I see it like a ripple effect, that as we help ourselves and then we help those close to us in our community, then they reach out and they help more. So that's how I see it, as becoming a cycle of wealth and success around the world. As Kathleen was describing, I've got a few credentials under my belt. And yes, I've done some success coaching certifications with Jack Canfield and Bob Proctor's programs. I'm currently doing a leadership program in the feminine power systems. I've got a past certification in cross-cultural counseling, my certified financial planning background, and my Bachelor of Science was actually my original career. I spent 25 years working in medical genetics, which is very different than most things. So that was my first big career change. So here at the bottom, I've got a mother of two, I'm divorced, I've been through 2 major career changes now, and would definitely describe myself as an empath, an intuitive person, that I've learned to really trust my guts and follow my intuition when I'm making decisions and figuring out what's next. And that's why I would say that my path is probably a bit unconventional. And so, yes, as I mentioned, I spent 25 years working in medical genetics. So that was my first career, working in mainly hospital labs and public education. I will always be a biologist. I am a born biologist, always curious about life and the magic there. When I was a little kid, I used to come home with pockets full of worms and would have collections of frogs and snakes and all kinds of critters. So always been fascinated with life. But that was my first career change. I guess it was just over a decade ago now. I was going through a divorce. My whole life was having to get reevaluated. And that's when I made my first big change in my career. I really found myself thinking, what am I supposed to be doing? What is my actual calling besides biology? But I realized that I'm a people person, that I really need that feeling of being of service and helping people directly. And at that time, a lot of my friends were also going through divorce and finding themselves on their own and having to figure out all those different things in life. And I really recognized that finance was one place that a lot of women felt they needed more support and felt that they weren't getting it in the system. That financial planning, finance in general, is a typically male-dominated industry. And so I felt that that was somewhere that I could be of service, that I could be that person in that industry that women could come to get the information they needed, get the support they needed, to be able to feel heard in what their challenges were. So that's what took me to financial planning in the first place. And I really loved the work, but I found that after 10 years in working in the corporate setting, that I'm, pushing their products and saying their taglines, but not really having the impact that I came there to have, and really helping women change their life for the better. And part of that too was in recognizing that with a lot of financial planning, we are putting numbers on a page, planning for something in the future. But very few people really spend any time thinking about what that future is really going to look like. So quite often we just end up putting numbers on a page that somebody else told us that we should put, but really feeling no connection with those numbers and no connection with whatever that plan or that dream was. And I really found too that women tend to lose track of themselves. And as Kathleen was talking earlier about this whole rage thing that's happening right now, and I think the pandemic has really pushed it, but I think it's been an undercurrent for a long time, that we tend to get so caught up in looking after everybody else, doing what we're supposed to do. And we get to a point in life when we're just thinking, how did I get here and why am I here? This isn't where I'm meant to be. This is not where I'm happy. This is not where I'm feeling fulfilled. So I've kind of got to the point where I realized I need to put all this together and really be of service, both in helping women understand their finances, but in my mind, more importantly, help them to actually take hold of their own vision for their own life. And part of what we do in financial planning is let people know you need to plan into your 90s. We need to plan to be here into our 90s. And these days, I would say our 60s and 70s are, the new 40s. That's, that old idea of getting into your 50s and 60s and retiring, slowing down, gardening, puttering, that is so old now. Because you think about it, most of us will be ready to stay active and be doing things into our 70s and 80s. So our 50s and 60s is not the time to slow down and to just start waiting till we die. It's the time to figure out what's next. It's that, what is the chapter? What is that next chapter of your life that you need to start writing? And I mean, ideally, it's great if we actually do some of this thinking way beforehand. But as I was saying, most of us, as we get into our 50s and 60s, realize that we really don't have a plan for what's next. And so that's really where I'm focusing my work now, is really helping women, particularly midlife women, to stop, think about themselves, which a lot of us don't do, and create the life you actually want to be living, that you will now be living for the next 20, 30, 40 years. So yes, numbers have something to do with that. Money will always be intertwined with everything in our life. But if we don't do that thinking about what life we're trying to create, like I said, the numbers really don't mean anything. They're just numbers on a page. And yeah, so that is where I'm really focusing now. So again, another big kind of career change. First, I went from my science background and those certifications, then I went into financial planning and got fully certified in that. Now I'm jumping into my own thing. And as I mentioned, it's inspired tenacity is what I call my business, because to me, that's what we need to make any big life changes. It's inspiration to figure out what that is, and then that tenacity to just keep at it till we get there. I'm also an international bestseller. So these are my 8 books that are, 7 of them are out right now. The 8th is just going to the publisher. So hopefully in the next month, I'll be able to say I'm an 8-time international bestseller. So that's another one of my projects that I've really found exciting. So I'll jump into these 3 tips that you're all just waiting to hear. So the first one, I think, is the most important one, and that's the one about really allowing yourself to dream. Allow yourself to actually think about what you want, because most of us, again, as women, we tend to not think about ourselves. If anything, we feel guilty if we're thinking about ourselves instead of what everybody else needs. And so we end up in that place, that rage is building, that because so many women are, I describe it like banging their head against the wall in either a job that they're really not happy with, or a lifestyle or a relationship. And sometimes it's just small things that need to change to readjust where you're at. And sometimes it's a big change. And so, but figuring out what we actually want to do with our life and allowing ourselves to think outside of what we've always done, what everybody's told us we're supposed to do. But we really just need to give ourselves permission and allow ourselves to think bigger and dream about what we want. And this quote here is one of my favorites. And it's really one that I really focus on a lot now, because I think this is what's going to change the world in a positive way. Right now, as we know, there's so much negative going on. People are getting so burnt out, worn down with everything going on. And to me, this describes exactly what's going to fix the whole situation here. So don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive. Then go do that. Because what the world needs is more people who have come alive. And to me, that's what it is, that we each need to dream big and actually step out and do those things that make us feel alive. And I mean, we've probably all felt it before. It's contagious. It's contagious when we're, both negative and positive. When we're in a bad mood, that becomes contagious. And that's, I think, what we're seeing in the world right now. Whereas if we're feeling excited and positive and inspired, that's contagious. And so people around us start feeling that excitement and feeling that just being wanted to be part of that. And I think, Kathleen, I think that's part of what you've created in this community as well, is that you bring that energy and that inspiration and make us all feel like, hey, I can do more. I can step into something bigger than what I've done before. So thank you for that. But this, to me, is the key ingredient, that we have to give ourselves permission to step into something bigger. Next thing, of course, is clarity. The other thing that we often don't do is really, really, really think, what does that mean? So finding that clarity, creating that vision and that path, and just start moving in that direction. You know, the idea that, you know, we feel like we've made a mistake sometimes, or we're going in the wrong direction. In my mind, there's never a mistake. There's never the wrong thing. They're all just part of the journey. So definitely focusing on clarity, focusing on what is your next step. Oh, we got one more coming in. And then one of the big ones too is taking that leap of faith, because it really is. It is a leap of faith that we have to take to make any big changes. And I love this little quote too, that your wings already exist. All you have to do is fly. Like, it's there, just do it. And that finding that courage to make a big change sometimes is hard, but I really find that being in communities like this, where we're surrounded by women who are taking on big things and taking on that courage and moving forward, I find is the best way to actually do these kinds of things. I notice, and I'm sure a lot of us have, that our immediate friends and family probably are not the people that are going to really support you in making a big change. And in most cases, it's not because they want to hold you back or squash your dreams. They want to keep you safe. And so they might tell you, oh, don't bother doing that, or you don't need to change that. Oh, well, just stay with that job you're always at. You're almost near retirement, you know. So, but again, connecting with groups like this, connecting with other people that support your dreams, and even if they don't completely understand what you're trying to do, just the fact that they're supporting you in going for your dreams and moving in a direction, to me, that's a huge thing in making these kinds of changes. Finding authors and things that you really find inspiring. Brene Brown is one of my favorites, and I go to often just for words of wisdom and encouragement when it comes to feeling like you're not sure what you're doing next. And that's one of the things too that I love about doing the books that I've been in, that it's really an opportunity to kind of reflect on your own story and reflect on where you've been and where you want to go. So I connecting with community, focusing on your dreams, and just moving one step. I mean, the whole thing about eating an elephant that we all know, you know, it's one bite at a time. Hopefully we won't eat elephants. How about, how do you eat a big chocolate cake? How's that? Even if it takes us a week to eat that whole chocolate cake. And going back to the whole rage thing that Kathleen was talking about earlier, to me, one of the other big feelings that has really been sapping our energy lately is this feeling of being stuck and numb. And that I think the pandemic, again, has really really sort of dug into this and made it worse, but I think it's always been there. And it's really just sort of blossomed because of the pandemic, and everything has kind of been emphasized and expanded. But this is another place where I'm really focusing in my work as well, is really helping women to first acknowledge that feeling we were talking about earlier, that you're really feeling like there's something else you're supposed to be doing, or something else that would really, you know, excite you and make you feel like you're contributing again. And so getting out of this feeling of stuck and numb. And I've been using the SNAP for SNAP out of it as an acronym. So getting out of stuck and numb and getting into action with purpose. So that's another kind of factor that I think is so important for women to move forward in getting away from where we're at right now and moving to where we really want to be. And part of the programs that I put together, I do this personalized roadmap, helping people kind of sit down and look at that clarity and see what's going on next. So anyone that wants to jump in on that with me, it's on my website, there's links to do that. This is one of my all-time favorite quotes, though, that I must share with you. So, how does one become a butterfly? You have to want to fly so much that you're willing to give up being a caterpillar. And I think this says it all as far as I'm concerned, that so often we get an idea of something else we want to do, but we're not willing to give up our comfort zone or give up the familiar. And one of the last books that I was in, I did my whole chapter. I called it Business and Butterflies, is the name of my chapter. And it's all about this whole kind of comparison between someone becoming an entrepreneur and the phases they go through, comparing it with a butterfly. And that's, as a corporate employee, you're probably like an egg where you've just got all this potential, but you're not going anywhere and you're kind of stuck there. Then you become that caterpillar and you're just devouring all the information and tools that you can until you're going to explode. I'm sure most of us entrepreneurs have felt like that. But the most important part to me is that cocoon phase, because what most people don't realize is when that caterpillar goes in there, it doesn't just go in there and grow wings and come back out. It goes in there and melts down into almost nothing, and then has to be rebuilt into the butterfly before it can come out and fly away. And to me, that's kind of a process that any kind of big transformation in our life has to include, that we have to acknowledge that that's part of what we have to go through. That whole shift in our identity, in our connections, and who we are going forward. So kind of just acknowledging that there will be bumps in the road, there will be things that get in your way, but connecting with communities like this and pushing forward is the best way to get through all that. So I've got all my connections and stuff. I'll put those in the chat, and I will get out of sharing so I can see everybody again. There they are. Hello.
Beautiful. Wow. Please take yourself off mute. Let's give Cathy Derksen a round of applause here. Some reactions, some hearts. Yeah.
That was excellent.
Wasn't that good? Okay.
Yeah,
Cathy,
so good.
That's right. Snap. You just like snapped right over that. You just snapped that like a rubber band.
Yes.
Come on, let's go back to snap, and then
all right.
we've built in some time for questions. Yes, thank you. Please snap
I wasn't
us
sure
back
how much
into
time
that.
we were going to have, so I kind of
It's
didn't make another
perfect.
slide on that one. But yeah, this whole idea, like you were describing with the rage that was in that one article. So between the rage and the numbness and the stuckness, I think so many women especially are feeling like that right now. And I think that it's up to all of us as a community to encourage each other and support each other but I think the acknowledgement is the first part. And that's why having communities like this that are a safe place to be honest, because to me, that's the piece that's missing, that so many women are feeling that rage, they're feeling that stuckness, they're feeling just frustration, but we're not allowed to say it because we're the ones that everyone else leans on. We are the rock, we are the pillar, we are, and that was actually a few books ago in the middle of the pandemic. That was what I wrote one of my chapters about, because at that time I was working in financial planning. I had about 250 people who I was their first contact. Many of them were elderly women that were in seniors residence on lockdown, alone, no contact with anybody. They're calling me. And it's not just about their money, it's about their life, their frustrations, their fears. And, again, when you're in that and you are the one supporting everybody else through it, we're not allowed to say, I'm sad, I'm depressed, I'm angry. We're not allowed to say it.
Yeah. And thank you for that, because that's it, as we always talk about in our council, is life is in session. So yeah. Cathy, remind us again about that SNAP acronym. What did you say that stands for? Because I know some of us were taking notes, and I'm kind of going, I want to listen, but I got to take notes. Yeah. SNAP.
So get out of feeling stuck and numb. Get into taking action with purpose.
Excellent.
And yes, I will. I was debating whether I would do the whole kind of talk around that, but I just find that it's so important, that first part, about really giving ourselves permission to make different choices, to give ourselves a different way of looking at our potential and our life. Because I think, like I said, there's so many of us banging our heads against the wall. Working and living in situations that we're just not happy with. And that doesn't need to be the way it is.
Right. And Cathy, at the same time, we're a very, I'll just say, we're an evolved group of ladies. We're working on ourselves. I mean, heck, we're here now with 1,000 things that we all could be doing. So big kudos and thanks to each of you. But I'm also curious for your clients, what everyone is dealing with. Are you seeing this with your clients? Is they're unable to snap out of it?
Well, they're definitely acknowledging. And again, it's one of those things that I think that we stew in, kind of like that frog in the boiling water, right? That if the water is just going up while he's sitting in there, he'll just keep sitting in there. And it takes something to, snap you out of it, to slap you upside the head, and that, wake up, think about it, and recognize what you're in the middle of, and that you are feeling like that. So the acknowledgement and the recognition of where you're at has to come first, because so many of us are just in that blur of just doing life and not noticing how we're really feeling. And you think about it too, one of the things I like to get people thinking about, what is the real cost of staying stuck? There's financial cost, there's relationship costs, there's mental health, there's physical health, all of those things. You're paying a price for staying stuck and frustrated and rage and just the whole thing. There's all those factors. You're paying a price for staying in that situation. So I think the more we talk about it and the more we give each other permission to feel different things.
Right. Yes. So community, what I'm hearing you say too is, awareness, community, and focus on moving forward with just the next step. And so, getting your voice in here, Andrea, Deb, Cindy, Cecilia as well, what was a takeaway for you from Cathy's Reignite Your Life?
Deb must have something to add. Oh, there's Cindy.
Yeah, just jump in.
Hi, Cathy.
Hello.
Thank you. Am I talking over somebody? I can't see everybody.
Nope, it's perfect. It's so
okay,
perfect.
Great. Yeah. Hi, everybody. Good to see you. We're on our way back from Indiana University.
Oh, I love that. Go IU.
My guy is driving, my son. So we had freshman orientation this yesterday and today. So very exciting times. My what you said, I'm sorry I was late. We were getting organized to get in the car, but what you said, what I did catch, it was really interesting. I really like your acronym too. And Kathleen knows this because she's my fabulous coach. I'm curious. I find myself kind of like in cycles about and it seems to be that at the beginning of the month, I'm revved up, ready to take on the world. And then by the 3.5 week, Like moving into stuckdom, like either stuck or just like done, or not done with my business because I love what I do, but just kind of you lose that excitement and momentum at some point. And it's not every month, but I always seem to feel like it seems like I've been starting to recognize it as a pattern. Do you have anything to anything that comes to mind that might indicate why?
Well, and the first thing is, it's great that you're acknowledging that and noticing that, because again, I think most of the time we just keep going through that, but don't acknowledge the pattern or the reality of what you're up against. I would definitely stop and look at kind of your cycle of events in the month, whether it's that you're doing a lot of stuff at the beginning and then you're just getting burnt out before the end. Or my guess is probably more that you're focusing so much on everybody else that you're not actually looking after yourself. So by the time you get halfway through the month, you are exhausted, you're frustrated, hopefully not in a rage, but possibly. So more just the energy and the.
Yeah, I'm not a big rager person. It takes months to get me to rage. My husband tries it, but he likes when I get mad. He's twisted. So, yeah, no, I'm more like just depleted, just want to, sometimes just veg out in front of Lifetime movies for a week.
Yeah.
But you got to keep it going, right?
Mm-hmm. My thoughts around that are that sometimes we just have to give ourselves permission to just do nothing for a little while, and to acknowledge that, listening to our body and listening to, our whole culture is built around go, 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 do more, do more, do more. If you're not busy, then you're not doing anything. We've completely forgotten that resting is doing something. And I'm very sure that humans were supposed to hibernate, and we were supposed to have siestas, and we were, we look at other animals and how they live their life of rest and busy and rest and busy. I mean, we should be doing that too, but we don't. We just go, 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 go.
Yeah.
So let yourself rest. Really, maybe even build in a day or two where you just block off your whole calendar and just do what you want to do. And if that's sitting down watching the same movie all weekend, then do that. And if that's going for a walk or hanging out with your kids, or do what your heart.
I like what you're saying. Yeah, that's good. That's good. And then my only other question would be any input or advice on the entrepreneur who's married to someone in corporate, not really corporate, but yeah, corporate. And they're just kind of in different spaces, as well as have different viewpoints on what work is and life is and that kind of thing.
Well, I think the first thing is that there has to be open enough communication that you're actually sitting down and having that conversation about differences of opinion and perspective, because I think that's one of the first things that challenges couples, that they don't have that conversation. They just keep pushing through and getting angry at the other one because they don't get it or they're wrong, when really maybe they just have a different opinion. And I always love an example that Bob Proctor used to always use is when you look at a book. He had a book in his hand and the front had the title on it and the back was blank. And he was saying, well, if I hold the back to you and ask you what's on it, I'm looking at the front and I say, well, what's on it? And you say, oh, there's nothing. It's just a blank. And I'm looking at it going, no, there's words on here. And that's no. But I mean, you're looking at it from a different perspective and you're seeing, so you're not wrong. You're just seeing a different perspective. And so I think that's a really important thing to acknowledge, especially in a couple. And I think one of the things too that we often don't acknowledge is the frustration in our partner. So if he is giving you a hard time because he doesn't see what you're doing as work, my guess is he's not very happy with his job. And he's in a way jealous that he's working his butt off 9 to 5, rushing around doing the thing he's supposed to do while you're doing what he'd actually rather be doing. So rather than acknowledging that maybe he needs a change, instead of doing that, he's giving you a hard time about what you are doing, even though he wants to be doing that too. So I think just communicating.
Very insightful. Yeah.
Well, it's funny too, because one of the ways that I used to always use this when I was doing more of the financial side was when it came to people's relationships with money. Because you quite often have a couple where one is a spender, one is saving every little bit, and they both, again, think the other one is wrong. What's your problem? Why don't you get it? When the reality is they're just the stories around money that they have probably since they were children that their parents taught them are different stories. So in their mind, this is how you do it. And because you're two different people with two different stories, that's, you don't see the same perspective. So just acknowledging that in each other, that, hey, maybe they're not wrong. Maybe they just see it differently or come from a different background that creates their perspective. So I think that's a really important thing, whether it's a spouse or other work people.
Yes. Excellent. Excellent. Very good, Cathy. And then let's come on over to Cecilia's question. She's got a lot going on in her life. And, what I got the gist of her question is about reaching out to community. And she's got a lot going on, lots of projects. She's a new mom. Any advice, Cathy, on how to slowly connect with the community when she really can't commit to hard deadlines, et cetera? Thoughts about that?
I hope you guys can't hear the lawnmower that's right outside my window. They wait all day to show up
right. Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
It's all good.
I would say a great way to do that. I mean, that's one of the things that social media has been so great at, that you can just drop into conversations and not have to be there at that moment. And one of the other things I like too is the idea of create what works for you and invite other people to show up there. And that's one of the things that I did learn with time, especially working in financial planning. I used to always say, oh, well, what time works for you? And then after a while, I thought, how about if I suggest what works for me, and hopefully that'll work for them. So that's something. And Cecilia, I know we got that local group, the SWIST is the Society for Canadian Women in Science and Technology. And they have a lot of different events and things going on. And I know they definitely would appreciate any more contributions into activity in the community and other things going on. But that would be my suggestion, is that if there's something that would work for you, a specific time or an event that you'd like to do, say, hey, anybody else want to join me?
There you
and
go.
If that doesn't work, then just the social media thing of dropping in when you can and adding comments here and there. And I mean, that's one of the things I love about Zoom, is that we don't have to spend the time driving somewhere anymore. We can just say, hey, I've got time in half an hour. Do you want to chat?
That's
and
right.
You can just drop in on Zoom and say, okay, here we are.
That's it. Yes. And support a global community, which is so nurturing to us too. So yes. Well, this has been fantastic, Cathy. Oh my goodness. And so, would you like to put up on the screen again, your contact information? Everyone, please get connected to Cathy Derksen on LinkedIn. And more to come. Cathy is esteemed faculty in the C-Suite Network Women's Coaching and Consulting Council. So yeah, thank you very much. Good. Thank you for that.
I added a few things here. So I've got my website, my LinkedIn, and I've also got, to the bottom here is a page that I've got that's got some gifts. So the two of them are free PDFs of a couple of my books. So they're actually the finished formatted books you can download for free. And then there's also a time on there to block time on my calendar for a visit.
Excellent. Very good. So let's take ourselves off mute. Give Cathy Derksen a round of applause. Woohoo! Thank you, thank you. Super good.
Thank you all.
Thank you. So good. I'm never going to look at the word snap the same again, ever. I'm just going to not do it. It's so good. Thank you. Thanks for helping us snap out of it, right? Yes. So let me finish up here just with a couple slides and then we'll complete our time. Cathy, you really helped us get our head out of the sand. And so we appreciate that very much. And, the other thing that our council is so really good about is that we are the lighthouses. We are the shining lights. We're the people in the world that, we're constantly working on ourselves and improving and growing and into this business sisterhood. So I thank you for such a great program today and kind of just getting the party started, so to speak. But when there's tumultuous times, we've got to be able to shine our light and work on ourselves. And so thank you for all of the good sharing. And we know that this has been very important. And I'd love to just spend a moment as we wrap up welcoming our esteemed faculty members, our new esteemed faculty, Nancy Geary, Cathy Derksen, thank you, newest esteemed faculty, Linda Conyard, esteemed faculty, Michelle McGlade is going to be presenting next month. We're very excited about that. And our newest esteemed faculty members, LaTanya Pouncey is a recruiter extraordinaire. She is an incredible thought leader and expert around diversity, inclusion, and equity. She's phenomenal. Trisha Bright is a world-class expert when it comes to executive women and having executive women have the life that they really, 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 really want. So these two women, be sure to get connected to these ladies, our sisters on LinkedIn, and we're going to make an announcement in our monthly newsletter about our new faculty. So we're so happy. We're always raising the bar, ladies. We've got a program coming up in 2 weeks. Sherry James. Oh my goodness. Sherry's going to be talking about how to become independently, mentally wealthy. Sherry James has been on a roadshow. She's been in Washington, D.C., talking to organizations, lobbyists, congressional groups. I mean, it's unbelievable. Conferences. Sherry has been traveling all around talking about this important topic. She's got a new podcast that she started. Sherry James is a tremendous thought leader and a very nice person. Oh, we love her. Super good. So Sherry James is going to be our speaker coming up in 2 weeks. And then I just decided, what the heck? Let's have a Saturday morning Women's Success Circle. So jump in. I call it just pop in at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 Central, 8 a.m. Pacific, 1 a.m. on Sunday for our sisters in Brisbane, Australia. Wow. So just pop in. And then it's 4 o'clock for our sisters in Europe. We had last Saturday was our very first call. We had women from Europe coming on. It was so great. It was 4 o'clock for them. They were having tea. We were having tea as well, but we were having it for breakfast. It was so much fun. So no recording, no PowerPoints, 27 minutes of delicious conversation. It was so great. No PowerPoint. It was all on gallery mode. And did you know that
every Saturday?
Every Saturday. Yeah. And, again, what we like to do in our council is we always want to have things to invite people to. So whether it's Deb Creer's podcast, the Business Power Hour, inviting people to come to that, or Deb Creer's new Facebook group, Cindy Chosik's tremendous program on how to write your best-selling book. And Cecilia, sounds like you're in the financial world. Cathy Derksen, everything that you're up to, always have something to invite people to. It's really powerful. So, yep, really excited. And, as we complete, I always love to complete. The world needs you and your prosperity light, your love light, your whatever light you're shining out there. We need the world to help you shine it, because that's the thing that's going to pull us all through, is shining your light. So feel free, book a conversation with me. It's Calendly, Kathleen Caldwell, very easy. Book a time. Let's talk about you becoming part of the C-Suite Network, Women's Coaching and Consulting Council, if you're not yet a member, or let's amplify your membership too. And if you haven't spoken on our podium in a little while, it's time. It's time, putting a little nudge in there. Okay. And so as we complete, just curious, what's your biggest takeaway from our time together with Cathy Derksen? What's your biggest takeaway? I'll take us off sharing and we're going to complete our program. What's your biggest takeaway? Love to get your voice in here.
So I always say, I'm the person that goes, squirrel, squirrel. And I've decided I'm changing that. And actually this was before, but it fits in perfectly to butterfly. Butterfly, right? Yeah.
I love that.
I'm still flitting hither and thither, but I'm a butterfly.
It so suits you, Deb. It so suits you.
I am kind of
Butterfly.
squirrel though too. Yeah. So
yes. But
yeah, we're
butterfly.
Butterfly.
Reinvention, right? Transformation.
Definitely.
Oh, I love it. We can so see that for you. Yay. Congratulations and welcome home.
Yes.
Your road trip,
long
your
vacation,
travels.
long driving, lots of driving.
Yes. Good. Glad you're back. Thank you. Cindy Chosick, Cecilia, as we complete any your takeaways, super good. Yep. Cindy Chosick, we want to support you in your author Q&A on the second and fourth Wednesdays, 4 p.m. Central. Yep. And contacting Rebecca at soconnectedllc.com. Love it. Yep. And the SNAP acronym. Very nice. Yes. Good. And
yeah,
Cecilia,
I just want to say thank you, Cathy. I like the SNAP acronym, and then of course the butterfly metaphor like that.
excellent.
I'm glad you guys appreciated that.
Thank you. Thank you. Good. And Cecilia, if you'd like to jump in, a takeaway, love to hear from you. No pressure to do it. Yes. Yes. Very nice. So Cathy Derksen, last words linger. The podium is yours for completing our time. Thank you.
Let's just focus on reigniting your life, and whether that's just bringing in small things that really make you feel better, bring that positive energy and just share it around, because again, that's what's going to lift the world out of where we're at, is just each of us figuring out what makes us come alive and go do that.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you. What a delightful time together. Blessings to each of you. Cathy, again, thank you. Lovely, lovely program. Good. From our hearts to all of you watching the rebroadcast, come join us in the Women's Coaching and Consulting Council. We want you. We love you. Sending lots of love and reignite your life. Blessings. Mwah. Bye for now. See you soon. Bye-bye. Thank you.